Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And I know it's been pretty long again because I was away and really busy in my professional life. So let's actually get into a quick review about one of the phone that I've been using for almost 3 months, and I really thought this would be somewhat a better time to actually release this video. So let's quickly get into this phone and see some of the specs and my overall rating on this. So as we see, this is the overall packing experience, and there are three variants on this phone. Basically, I mean, in regards to color, one is I think the bronze, the second one is purple, and this one is the metallic gun color. And I really like this color, so I just bought it. So as soon as you unbox the phone, you are just having a welcome screen about the on-screen fingerprint sensor, and few of the specs are basically laid out on this paper. That's not really needed, just for eco-friendly, that should be considered. But let's quickly go into further. We'll see the phone with a TPU soft case already put on it, and that's a pretty generic one. I would not really recommend to use it as the main one because it's not that of a quality, and the phone will generally come out of it quite easily. And you have the SIM ejection tool, and this comes with only a set of charger and a USB-C cable, nothing specific, and that charger is basically a turbo charger. So that's the overall unboxing experience. So let's get into further. So the main feature of this phone is that on-screen fingerprint sensor, and the other one is the camera. So let's speak about this. I would like to rate it 3.5 out of 5 because of certain reasons, and probably it could be only me that I'm facing the problem with, because maybe the screen protector is not up to standard or something, but I generally have to touch it at least twice to make it work or recognize my fingerprint. And I have tested it without the screen protector as well, and the experience was not that great when it actually comes to the face recognition. And ultimately my phone is actually under corporate environment, so it's synced up with Intune, so my administrators don't want me to use face recognition, so they just wanted to use this, and unfortunately I'm tied up with this, and the experience is not that great. Up to it's up to me. I mean, maybe your phone could be better or the experience could be better, but you can actually see on the screen how the experience is like. So that was the issue. When it actually comes to any smartphone these days, the screen resolution is quite a big of win-win situation for a lot of the guys, and majority of them look at the screen resolution first. And I was also more interested towards the screen, and I was luckily able to understand that the screen would be somewhat better, and it turned out to be pretty impressive. This is a 6.4-inch OLED screen with a crystal clear panel. I mean, the sharpness is quite spectacular. You can read and view the screen from multiple angles, and there's no bad things about it. And I've been playing a lot of games on this phone, especially the Call of Duty and few other things, and the screen resolution is quite good. You can actually max out the setting on any game to the highest limits, and the phone screen rendering is pretty perfect. I'm not sure, or I haven't tested it at a bigger game level like changing the hertz and few other things, but the phone is quite good in that area. But there's one thing that I really didn't like about this phone. That's the reason why I gave it 4.5. That's the brightness. And when you actually go into the sun or direct under the sun, the screen is quite dull and you'll not be able to see the screen at all. I mean, you cannot operate the phone basically. That's the only reason why I gave it 4.5. Now coming to the main thing about any smartphones or any phone is the battery life. This has 4000 milliamp of power supply, and this also goes with a turbocharger to quickly charge itself, and I was able to charge this phone for like 10 minutes and almost complete half of the day without even worrying about the battery. And you can also use ton of other customization, that way you can actually save the battery life as well on the phone. The battery doesn't overheat even though if you play heavy graphic intensive games such as Call of Duty or PUBG, and that's a win-win situation for a lot of us. When it actually comes to the operating system, this phone is not in the class of Android One, and I would like to rate it 4.5 out of 5 because that's a pretty good thing. That means you can get a lot of the latest things that are in the market and you can tweak it by your own, and the experience is quite a simple layout, nothing modified or tweaked. It's just having a pretty generic apps of Moto, but that will not actually do much of the things except like automating or doing some kind of tasks that you cannot do with a generic operating system. And the experience is pretty good because the overall performance of this phone is quite spectacular in its class. When it actually comes to the camera setup on this phone, there are five cameras on this phone. That's pretty much not needed these days. One, the front facing one with 25 megapixel sensor with f2.0 aperture, and the backside you have the main camera, the 48 megapixel one, and the ultra wide one, and one with the depth sensor, that is a portrait one, and the one is for the optical zoom kind of a lens. And I don't really feel like you need so many lenses or cameras set up behind a phone. One more good thing about this phone is that you have that manual control of the settings, so that means you can take the picture in the DNG format and put it in Adobe Photoshop, any third party software, and do tweaks here and there. That's the only good thing that I really like about this. But rest all thing, when it comes to autofocus and few of the things in that area, I really don't rely on it because that phone or this sensors on this phone are not really up to the standards to use that kind of autofocusing as you expect on a high-end camera, or at least like a pretty good generic phone from Apple. So that's a little bit of disappointment, but rest all the things are pretty much good. And when it actually comes to the filmography on this phone, I'm using the Filmic Pro on this, and it's kind of a good output but not that great as I was expecting. So the overall performance was pretty good, so that is why I gave it 4.5 out of 5 and not really 5, because of few things that I really felt like are not up to the standards. Now coming to the major thing, this backside illuminated Moto logo, which is quite impressive, and I really like the way it shines up and you can even control it. So that's the overall experience of this phone, guys. I really feel like this phone is kind of a okay phone for mid-range users. This actually completes the review of this phone, guys. I would like to give it a rating of 4.5 out of 5 in the overall experience, but not really 5 or above 4.5, because certain things that were really needed by me, I didn't like them, and that's quite expected because the phone is like budget friendly, so you cannot expect high-end flagship, features or performance. But yeah, that actually completes the review, guys. I hope you have liked this. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'll definitely try to answer them. Please do subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you like it.